It had been exactly 5 minutes since I signed the divorce papers. 5 minutes since I ended 9 years of my life with a single stroke of a pen. My name is Elena. I'm 34 years old, mother to 2 children who are my entire world. And at 10:07 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in a beige, fluorescent-lit mediator's office that smelled like old coffee and broken promises, I dissolved my marriage to Ryan, the man who once held my face in his hands and told me I was his everything. There was no screaming, no dramatic confrontation, just a cold, hollow ringing in my chest as the mediator slid the final document across the table like it was a receipt. Ryan barely looked at it before scrawling his signature. He was already glancing at his phone before the ink dried. Then the ringtone cut through the silence like a blade. He answered without hesitation, without shame, without even a flicker of awareness that I was still in the room. Yeah, babe. I'm done here, heading straight over. The whole family's coming. Our boy is the future of this family. After all, our boy, not the children sitting 20 feet away in the hallway. A different child with a different woman. His sister Sophia, who had positioned herself in the corner, like a spectator at a show she'd already seen, smiled with every tooth in her mouth. Good riddance, she said, not bothering to lower her voice. He has a real woman now, one carrying his son. Another relative, emboldened by the moment, leaned in. Who'd want a woman dragging 2 kids around anyway? I looked at them, every one of them, and I said absolutely nothing. Instead, I reached into my bag with steady hands. I placed the house keys on the desk, no ceremony, no anger, just set them down like I was returning something I no longer needed. Then I pulled out 2 crisp, freshly issued passports and set them beside the keys. The children and I are leaving for Paris today, I said. My voice was calm, almost gentle. Visas were approved last week. Ryan's expression cracked for the first time all morning. Paris? With what money? Right on cue, as if the universe had choreographed it. A sleek black Audi rolled silently to a stop outside the glass doors. The driver stepped out, adjusted his jacket, and bowed precisely. Mrs. Elena, your car is ready. I gathered Mia in one arm and Leo in the other, felt their small bodies press into mine, breathed them in. From this moment, I said quietly, to no one in particular and to all of them at once, we won't be in your way, and I walked out. I did not look back, not once. In the car, the driver handed me a thick envelope without a word. I already knew what was inside. Bank transfers going back 3 years. Property deeds hidden behind shell companies. Private messages that told a story Ryan had worked very hard to keep buried. My attorney, Marcus, had spent 6 months being exceptionally thorough. His text came through before we even reached the highway. Everything is in place. The clinic appointment is happening now. While my children slept against my sides and the city rolled past the tinted windows, Ryan and his entire entourage were crowding into the marble-floored waiting room of New York's most exclusive fertility center, a place that radiated money and the particular arrogance of people who believe wealth insulates them from consequences. Vanessa sat at the center of it all, glowing in designer maternity wear, one hand resting proudly on the small curve of her stomach. She looked like a woman who had won something. Ryan's mother descended on her like a matriarch crowning a queen. My precious granddaughter-in-law, you're carrying our legacy, our future. Sophia produced a bag of luxury prenatal supplements for a strong boy. They laughed, they planned private school applications, family vacations, the names of rooms in a house they'd already imagined. They celebrated freely, completely forgetting, or perhaps simply not caring, about the wife they had discarded that morning like an expired contract. When the ultrasound technician entered the room, Ryan took Vanessa's hand, beaming with a pride I had never once seen directed at me. The technician moved the probe in careful, deliberate strokes, and then she stopped, a small frown. A pause that lasted slightly too long, the kind of pause that changes rooms. Dr. Ryan prompted, impatient as always. The physician leaned forward and studied the screen in silence. Then he made a quiet call. Security staff appeared, a legal representative followed. The air in the room thickened into something no one could quite name. When the doctor finally spoke, his voice carried no drama, just facts. Based on fetal measurements and developmental markers, conception occurred at least 5 weeks earlier than the dates you provided. The words detonated in the center of the room. Ryan's face went the color of old paper. What? Vanessa's composure shattered in real time. There must be some mistake. The discrepancy is too significant for error, the doctor said. Unmoved, this child was conceived well before the timeline you reported with Mr. Ryan. What happened next was not elegant. Sophia began screaming accusations. Ryan's mother pressed a hand to her chest as if physically struck. Ryan turned on Vanessa with eyes that had gone from triumph to fury in the space of a single sentence. Whose baby is it? No one answered, because no one could, while Ryan's family came apart in the corridor, voices raised, alliances collapsing, every carefully constructed fantasy dissolving under the fluorescent light. His phone rang again, his CFO voice tight and fast. 3 of the company's largest clients had simultaneously terminated their contracts, citing disturbing internal information that had surfaced that morning. The penalties alone could end the business. Then the bank, all accounts frozen, emergency court order, filed by Elena. Ryan stood in the hallway of a fertility clinic, surrounded by the wreckage of every plan he'd made, and felt the pieces click together all at once. My comm at the table, the passports already in my bag, the black car already waiting at the curb, the evidence already in an attorney's hands, the accounts already flagged, every piece of it moving in silence for months while he had looked at me and seen nothing. While he had decided I was finished, he had thought I was broken. I had been building. At the airport, as our plane lifted into the clean June sky, Mia was already asleep. Leo looked up at me with his father's eyes, but nothing else of him. I hoped, Mom, he whispered, will Dad come visit? I pressed my lips to his forehead and held them there for a moment. We're starting fresh. Sweetheart, I said softly, just us. Miles below us, in a city we were already leaving behind, Ryan's empire was beginning to come apart. Deal by deal, call by call, question by unanswered question. While the woman he had discarded flew toward a future he would never be able to touch, the doctor's single sentence had shattered the illusion they had all been living inside. But my quiet signature, on a beige piece of paper, in a room that smelled like old coffee, had already sealed every one of their fates, and not one of them had seen it coming.